So I think new car sales are about to come to a halt. Now I'm a used car dealer and I have been one for 14 years, and what I believe is about to happen is against everything that is really being talked about right now in the car market, because right now what we're going through is a period of strength. If you look at the numbers from new car sales right now, they are up, but I believe this is one big factor that is making these sales that are going to come to a halt in the next couple months. See, what's happening right now is that there's a massive pull forward in demand from people that are planning on buying cars over the next few months, or were on the fence right now. Well, they're getting pushed over the edge to actually buy cars right now from these new car manufacturers, these new car dealers, because of the fear of tariffs that are actually coming into the system. And that is, wide scale, you're going to have the belief that that is going to increase prices on the new level. So people who are thinking about actually buying cars, well, now they're jumping into the pool, they're jumping over the edge, and they're spending their money on these new cars. But here's what's going to happen. Well, you're going to have all this pull forward in demand, and now all the people that were going to buy over the next 2-3 months, well, now they've already bought. They were going to get in there before all these price increases, and they've all seen it in the news. They've all seen it on YouTube. If you're watching this, you know that there is a massive anticipation of big price increases coming from these manufacturers due to tariffs. So all these buyers, they're hearing the same things that you are. They're watching the same videos that you are. So now they're going out to buy these cars. We've even seen some negotiation tactics that are actually coming from these manufacturers. I will say manufacturers, the dealers. The dealers are the problem with the negotiation stuff, where you're having salespeople that are actually saying, okay, well, you better buy this car right now, because a month from now it's going to be 20-25% greater just because of tariffs that are coming into the system. That's not true, but salespeople are using this tactic and it's working. So even people that were just going into dealerships, if they have been living in a cave for the last 2 or 3 months, even those people that are going in, they're on the fence trying to get the number that they want to get by negotiating with salespeople at these franchise dealers. Well, they're even being pushed over the edge, and all these sales tactics, they're actually working, because then what's someone going to do? Well, even if they're not looking at the news, they're going to pull it up on their phone and say, oh yeah, you know what, prices are going to go up, so we better buy this car right now. And here's the big worry for my car business. I circle all the way back. I'm a used car dealer. My big worry for all of this, and the shadow that you're seeing on this is just the microphone coming out of my camera. But my big worry that's coming from all of this is that as new car sales go to a halt, well, there's going to be a situation where trade-ins also come to a halt. And all these cars that you see behind me, we just got hit by tax time. That's another thing. I'll tell you about that in a second too, because on the used car side, I think sales and this mini kind of crash that happens every single year, that's also playing into this with wholesale prices that we just got a spike from all this FOMO too, but I'll talk about that in just a little bit. But my worry here is that, okay, all these new car sales that have been pulled forward in demand, we saw all those cars hit the auction this past few weeks, and we were down to like 7 cars for sale, and we went on a run where we were able to buy a lot of cars in about a week and a half span because we had more inventory in the system. One of the auctions that I go to, there was one week where it looked like they had about 50 to 60% of what they normally run, and then the next week right after that they had like 130, 140% of what they typically run. So we're seeing this fluctuation in the market where, okay, no car sales, tons of car sales, and now I feel like we're going to go back and we're going to fall off a cliff. And that's my worry, because that situation I saw at the end of tax time where, okay, we went to, there was no car sales because the new car manufacturers, they're having a harder time selling the cars at elevated prices. Now they're going to increase the prices, and then we're seeing that there was fewer sales because of prices. Okay, we got FOMO, lots of sales, lots of cars at auction, and now I think we're going to have the spigot that's shut off again, where I go to the auction and there are no cars. So what this can do for the used car market is that if we have supply that's way down at auction, well, we still have the same amount of used car dealers, the same amount of mouths to feed to buy these cars like you see behind me. So that increases the price on the quality cars that that dealers actually want to buy. But here's the caveat on that. Well, we have an economy that's softening. So maybe what happens is, okay, dealers can go in and buy cars for better prices, which was what we've experienced lately, at least on the wholesale level for my range of product. And it's not necessarily because supply is all that much better. What I'm looking at is that there's fewer dealers at auction. So there's fewer dealers that actually come in and buy. So there's a bunch of weird things that are happening in the car market right now, and I want you to make sure you subscribe to this channel because I do updates, and I am going to actually release this video that I'm recording right now today. So as I see things move in the market, it's more updated. On our other channels, we could be delayed because we have to spend time editing, stuff like this. I'm not doing that on this channel. You're going to get it in real time, so make sure you're subscribed. But that's one big thing that I'm worried about. And the second thing that I'm worried about for at least my business in particular is that, okay, maybe a lot of these dealers do pull out of the market and we're able to go in and buy pretty much anything that we want to buy for whatever price that we're wanting to pay for it. Motorcycle come by. But on that case, if the market's so soft that dealers are feeling like they have to go that route, well, it could be the situation where maybe on the back end side, when we bring cars to the lot, we experience a slowdown too, even though our business is set up to provide cars for people during a slow time, right? So we sell cars that are $5,000 and under, and of course I'm standing in front of the one car that we don't have priced. All of our cars we try to price when we get out here, but I guess the guys didn't get it done. Anyway, so $3,500 van. We're priced $5,000 and under to really fit that niche of when people tear down in cars, when that mid-tier buyer, that $5,000 to $15,000 used car buyer, whenever they go into a harder time, well, they're not trying to go buy that $10,000 car now. They're coming back to where they can buy like a $3,500 car for cash. Don't have to worry about it. And so it feels like in an environment where we anticipate that we're going into, that my business should really thrive. But if it gets really, really bad, then we're going to have it to where people just don't spend money altogether. And the consumer sentiment was just released, and we saw the greatest decline in a short amount of time of consumer sentiment since the 90s. So you think about what we've gone through. We went through COVID. So now that consumer sentiment level is approaching now the lowest point that it has been since COVID. Think about what was going on when we first heard about COVID, when it was hitting small businesses. Small businesses were shutting their doors overnight. Supply chains were closed overnight. It was panic, mass panic. That's the same level the consumer is feeling right now. And I mean, to my standpoint, things, yes, they've gone up in price. Yes, there's lots of fear in the market, but really there's nothing that has necessarily changed on a dime like it did during the pandemic. Supply chains are going to have things to work through. Price increases are going to have to work through the market. It hasn't gone up overnight. Even with these auto tariffs that have come into place, a lot of these manufacturers, they're eating it for a short amount of time. They're trying to figure things out. It's been a slower process than even I thought was going to happen as far as price increases go. So nothing has happened overnight, but the consumer still feels like it's they're in panic mode, just like in the pandemic. That's what the consumer sentiment level is showing right now. So that's going to tell you what consumers are planning to do with their money, and if they're that worried about the economy, about what's going on in their own households, well, they're not going to be spending extra money. But I want to make sure I circle back around to used car market and what happens around this time of year. And it's what we get is we get a massive demand crush. every year during this time of year anyway, because we have already experienced our pull forward in demand. If you've been watching this channel, you know, as me as a used car dealer, what we did is we loaded up for tax time, spring selling season. People get their tax refunds and they come to us and they clean us out. We had 150 something cars and we sold all the way down to where we only had 7 for sale at one time. That was just a few weeks ago. So all the people that were going to buy cars that were getting tax refunds, well, they bought when they had that extra money. So we always experience this mini crash in the used car market where you see, okay, prices spike for tax time. Dealers sell cars. They go to wholesale auctions. Wholesale prices spike every year around this time, and then there's a crash on the other side because just as soon as the money gets here, it goes away, and there's so much pull forward in demand from the consumer for a used car dealer, specifically in my price range, that all the customers are going to buy cars. They bought them, and now there's this dry spell throughout the beginning of summer where, okay, you just have customers now that they only buy cars because they need to and not because they want to. All the customers that wanted to buy cars, well, they want to buy it when they had the money. And I think in the new car market, we're seeing a very similar dynamic that I see every single year, where all the consumers that were thinking about buying cars or wanting to potentially buy cars over the next few months, well, they just bought them. That's the spike that we've seen in sales. That's a spike that we're seeing in wholesale price data. That's all we're seeing, a pull forward in demand. And I think all of that's going to go away very, very, very quickly.